I love how the program's like, hey, whoa, you're not scheduled to go for another 5 minutes. I'm like, all the time. All the time. Every time I set up these shows, it's like, no, that Facebook doesn't let you start more than 10 minutes late, but going early is okay.
Going early is okay.
And then I go early, and it's like, whoa, what are you doing?
Whoa.
That is the low blow. Thank you for streaming us. Maybe you're tuned in, interacting live. Maybe you're watching this after the fact. If we ask a question, interact with us. It doesn't matter when you are checking this out. We do appreciate it.
Yeah.
And there are questions that I need answers to today. Serious questions, not just, hey, does this look infected to you?
The answer is yes, it does.
I mean, if you have to ask that question, that's probably your answer. I mean, you know what it is.
Yeah, you just need a second set of eyes to just be like, yeah. Or you're trying to punish that person.
So that used to be my line. With when I was married, she'd be like, do these pants make my butt look big? I'm like, if you have to ask the question, there's the answer. Which doesn't really answer the question, but it's certainly not what they wanted to hear.
No.
But it's true, it's like, oh, do I look fat in this? If you're asking, you probably don't look thin in it. I'm just saying. Maybe you do. It's the dome of Ballz.
Yes.
That sounds sick and disgusting. I want nothing to do with that.
It's a hell of a time, I'll tell you that right now.
I'm imagining a dome of balls, one like the terror dome of Ballz. And it's a bunch of you just popping around like popcorn.
I was going to just like me in a ball pit. That's just like
that great Comic-Con that promoted this big ball pit, and it was like this 3-foot mini pool.
Yes.
I wish I knew we were going to talk about that. I'd have the picture ready to go right now.
I wish you did.
Ready to pull that up. But it's so weird. There's like no pay-per-view to predict.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with my weekend at this point.
Yeah, I mean, what else are you going to ignore by not watching?
I know, at least then I knew I was ignoring a pay-per-view.
At least, I'm like, okay, I don't want spoilers, so I'll stay off my phone for a few moments. Okay, no, I won't.
Yeah, no, I don't care that much. I wasn't watching anyway.
So did you watch All Out?
No.
Carry this show again. Where's Greg where I need him?
In his basement.
Where's Mr. Director at? If anybody did watch AEW All Out, your thoughts very much welcome. I suppose we dive right into it with my 6 things.
Along.
All Out, get out.
Get out.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but it's true. It's the worst AEW pay-per-view to date.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Everyone was off all night. I'm not saying there wasn't good matches, good performances, athleticism. I'm not saying it was a crappy show. But by AEW standards, this is the lowest result.
Interesting. Okay.
And no, not just because of spots. Matt Seidel's big debut as a part of the the Battle Royal. And he tries to do his shooting star press off of the top rope and slip and fall.
Which I saw on Twitter. Like, he's like, I've never done that before.
Yeah. I mean, at least he fessed up to it, said, hey, nowhere to go but up. And I mean, that's all you can do. Obviously not ideal. And that's the difference between the production of AEW and WWE. WWE would have cut away from that as quickly as possible.
Yes.
AEW is like, oops.
We're real. Look what happened.
But he still had a good showing. He still made the finals. And there wasn't necessarily a bad match, although the tooth and nail match was close to bad. And so now, like, we were even talking, like, how do you do a cinematic match and not put that on the main card? Now I know.
Well, it ended up making the main card, right?
It did. It
did.
Because
everything I read said that Tony loved the footage so much that he bumped it to the main card.
Brian, Mr. Dome of Ballz there, saying it was he's a little less subtle about his thoughts than myself. Felicia, what's going on? How you doing?
Hey.
So
does he have Braun Strowman as his picture?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
That is him.
That is him?
Yeah. They're one and the same. Braun Strowman. He really likes the idea of Dome of Ballz. No. The tooth and nail match was a cinematic match. Britt Baker and Swole, Big Swole.
Yeah.
In what was supposed to be Britt's dentist's office, and even if it wasn't, they did a pretty convincing job. I thought it was all right. Dome of Balls, too funny. Yeah. But it was like not even 8 minutes long. And we're so used to these cinematic matches, I think a lot of it from WWE, that and if you're new, if you haven't watched these cinematic matches, you're just streaming us, you don't know what we're talking about. It's pre-recorded matches done like a Hollywood style. A lot of camera cuts, edits. So it's not just watching a pro wrestling match where maybe you got a couple different camera angles. This is done, produced, and they acknowledge that it's cinematic. Yeah. The frame rate is different, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, for sure.
This was so short, and it just felt awkward. And I was kind of disappointed because I know everybody involved could do more with it.
Oh, yeah. And I did read that it was done because Britt's still not 100% cleared, and they felt like they had to do the match anyway because they built it up so much, which I get, and I respect them for it. Hopefully, but, as you said earlier, nowhere to go but up. So hopefully the Swole Britt Baker thing keeps going and they can just maintain it into something else.
I was talking to somebody that said, I know why it wasn't on the pre-show. Okay. Why was it not in the buy-in? Well, it's because you're trying to sell the pay-per-view and that wouldn't have sold it. But if you've already ordered it, you've already spent the money. It's not the WWE Network, so you're spending $50 or so, or you got that subscription to the BR and all that other stuff, the Bleacher Report. You've already spent it. Too late now.
Yep.
You got to watch it. It was just weird. It was definitely weird. I don't know if I would have done like a backstage thing where you build it up. Yeah. Like Swole's just showing up is the first scene. You go to a match and then you kind of break it up and then you see her going inside still looking for Britt. I don't know. Or I would have used it as a buffer, a bathroom match between more competitive matches.
Sure.
I don't know. Just it's we knew it was only a matter of time before cinematic matches kind of, I wouldn't say jump the shark, but just the level of quality and creativity that we've seen had to eventually top off.
This is what I've learned from this. We've constantly said that WWE production people are the unsung heroes of pretty much everything WWE does. This proves it.
Yeah.
That WWE's production people, top notch.
Yeah, and can turn some of the worst angles and storylines and footage around.
Yes.
So as you just said, apparently not fully recovered yet. Even then, though, it's a cinematic match, so you could cut and you could take a lot more breaks that we don't see because it's edited. But all the same, Mimosa Mayhem match was actually kind of disappointing. Like, I like the idea of it. Yeah, I didn't mind the two pulls off to the side, but the match itself between Cassidy and Jericho, wasn't, to me, that wasn't the payoff match. That was not what it should have been. Of all the wrestling matches, this is the one that intrigued me the least.
See, now, and this is where I'm victim to only seeing highlights, is that I only catch the good stuff. So, like, I was like, all right, this must have been pretty good, but apparently not so much.
It wasn't bad, but compared to the other ones, which told a better story and kind of built up to this, this was just a lot more, holding onto the rope and
it's true,
not falling in. And I don't know if Justin Roberts, the announcer, had announced to the live crowd that your whole body has to be submersed into the pool and not just a body part.
Yeah.
Because, you got legs thrown in there, you got hair dangled in there, and the crowd's like, what's going on? Why is the match still going? And I don't know. It was fine. It just seems like AEW Dynamite this week was a better show than the pay-per-view.
Dynamite was good.
Yeah.
Over 1 million viewers. It was a very good rating this week.
And, of course, Miro. Miro
Day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Former Rusev finally moving on elsewhere. Cut a promo real quick.
Yeah.
Little heat, little passion behind that promo. Talking about 10 years in the same house, living under the same glass ceiling, and F your brass ring.
Yep.
So let's see. Let's see what he does now. Obviously, he's the best man. He's working with Kip Sabian there. How long before you throw him to the main event?
Oh man, probably not too long. I imagine he'll make a break for something here pretty soon. Within the next couple months, I would say for sure.
Now, right now, crowds are cheering him. Do you think he stays a face? Or does it even matter? Because AEW, they can book heel and face, but they don't really enforce it.
Yeah, they don't. No, I think he'll probably. Then that's where it's interesting because Kip Sabian's a heel,
right?
So I think he'll probably lean more face.
Okay.
Interaction, at least for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
do you think it's right for him to be not just the best man? Obviously, great surprise there. He didn't show up on the pay-per-view. He wasn't the 21st entrant, as a lot of people expected. That ended up going to, again, Matt Sydal. But do you think maybe you waited? You should have waited till some of the crowds are back, because those Miro Day chants are only going to get louder with more people. Or do you just, as they did, pull the trigger because you don't know when you're going to get more than 13% audience?
And that's what I was going to say is, in you think that you'd hold off on it and be like, this will be so much better in front of a better crowd, but you never know when that crowd's actually going to happen. It could be next year. And do you want to hold off on having Miro debut and the matchups that he could have just because there's no crowd? You have to just bite the bullet and make the best of what you have right now.
Now, I would have, if I was AEW management, I would have said, as Miro walks in the back, good to have you. Welcome. We're excited to see what you can do once you re-dye that hair. We're not putting you on TV like that. That
Miro
blonde
Shady.
hair is weird.
Miro Shady.
Was he never allowed to dye his hair growing up, or WWE? So this is him raging against that machine. So he's got a little blood.
It was when he started Twitch. He dyed his hair blonde.
I know, but I was hoping he'd get it, fixed by the time that Dynamite rolled around.
No, I think it's whatever. I think he makes sense to be with Kip Sabian because they both have Twitch channels. I feel like that's why they were put together. And
that's fine. That's fine. But I'm distracted by the hair. I'm not.
I know you are.
I'm distracted by the hair and his Disney T-shirts. It's rot that segment again.
It's like Gucci.
Yeah. All right. So AEW's X division.
Ooh.
Which I said this out loud without the graphic. And somebody earlier, and they're like, X division. That's Impact. X as in X stars. So let me open up some screen sharing here.
Ooh.
So we can look at what's called the so again, bro posting. Put this. This is not our graphic.
No, it's not.
But I wanted to bring this up though. I wanted to talk about this because this bothers a lot of people.
It does. And it, I guess it all, there's different aspects of it. I don't know. It does not bother me as much as it used to, or it does not bother me with AEW as much as it did with Impact. I don't know why. I feel like, and it shouldn't have bothered me as much with Impact for the same reason as I'm about to say, and I was probably just more jaded back then. There is literally, besides New Japan, nowhere else to go. So, and if you're a good worker and you leave WWE, are you not supposed to go anywhere else? I
mean, it is the largest brand worldwide.
Yes.
So, sure. Odds are the coming and going out of that system is something else. So, I do think there are certain stars on this graphic that shouldn't even be in this conversation.
Yes, I would agree with that 100%.
There's a certain female next to Billy Gunn that I say, no, that's not a WWE cast-off.
No, No. And the one who with Taya Conti, who just debuted on Dynamite. Exactly. No. If you didn't make it to the main roster, she didn't even make it to consistently be on NXT television.
Right. So some people are arguing this graphic should also include Britt Baker then or MJF because they were jobbers on TV. No. Just wipe that out.
No.
But how many of these people do you really like? You know, we can even go person by person if you really wanted to. How many of these people do you think are WWE cast-offs like that you associate with? Well, that's a WWE guy.
I would say,
because I mean the technicality here, is correct, and you actually noticed that they were missing Trent.
They're missing Trent and Colt Cabana. If you're being honest, but Colt Cabana, you know, if you were in the company for a cup of coffee 10 years ago, are you a WWE cast-off? No. So, I mean, I don't think he should be on there, but I get why he would have been.
I agree. I mean, he was Scotty Goldman for a little bit, and it was so long ago that people don't really associate it. Although you could still argue he has more of a deserving spot on this graphic here than Conti or even Awesome Kong, who Karma had a great push for 3 weeks.
I was gonna say, Karma, exactly.
I've never associated Awesome Kong or Karma with WWE. Yes, she technically was there, but I don't think of that. No.
And even some of these, like Arn Anderson, do you associate him with WWE? Do you associate him with WCW?
I was just about to say, if you're a legend and you haven't been competing for a while, I don't consider you a WWE person. So Anderson, I agree with. Blanchard, no. I don't attach that, but you start going around, you know, Brian,
I just noticed
Miro, Brody, Matt Hardy, WWE guys.
Yeah, I just noticed that Lance Archer is not on there.
Yeah. So there's another one that's, again, though, I don't really count. Although that was a highlight from AEW All Out. Jim Ross's inability to call Lance Archer, kept calling him Lance Hoyt.
Which is funny because I would assume he would have called him Vance Archer.
Right. But I appreciate the Impact name being used there. But you're right. So you look at this list, I agree completely with Matt Hardy. I think he's a WWE guy.
Yeah, I do too.
I would say Jack Swagger.
Yes, absolutely.
And so far, Rusev, Miro, yes.
Yeah.
Maybe Dean Ambrose.
I would say Dean Ambrose, yes. I mean, I definitely more than that from like an indie career. So yeah, for sure.
But I look at this graphic though, and I think like the longer you've been removed from WWE, the less I associate. So like Jericho could easily be a WWE guy, but he's been a couple years removed, and he does so much else that to me is just another stop on the resume.
Yeah.
Billy Gunn, WWE guy.
Yeah. Matt Sydal, I don't consider him a WWE guy. He's been gone for a while.
It's been a long time since Evan Bourne has been a thing.
And he's been back on the indies for a while. So like more for Impact recently than WWE. Matt Cardona and Zack Ryder is not even technically full-time on the roster yet. So
Zack Ryder, I'd consider a WWE guy. You know, Matt Cardona for now.
Yeah.
And a Brody Lee, Luke Harper. But again, as you start going past some of these people, you know, like Neville, Pac, I don't think of him as a WWE guy, even though he had a pretty good run there.
Yeah, he did. No, for sure. But like, and I guess it's probably more related to where you first are exposed to them. Like, I'll always equate Taz with ECW before WWE. Like, I equate Pac with Dragon Gate before I equate him with WWE.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What I'm used to.
So I don't know if that's fair. I know a lot of people are frustrated that, you know, Young Bucks and Omega and Page haven't gotten a bigger push, even though two of those names have been tag champions for a while now.
Yeah.
I get some frustration there, but you can really argue that, that's a New Japan guy.
Yeah. Right. And that's what the argument would be. Like, if a bunch of guys from New Japan started showing up, do you think the same internet people would be like, all these New Japan cast-offs, like,
just keep in mind, if AEW turns this around and keeps getting those good ratings, keeps going up in popularity, it's only a matter of time before AEW cast-offs happen.
It's true. I mean, yes.
So anything else about this, before you go?
I think the one thing that I was going to say is, I know around the time that everything happened with these COVID releases and everyone getting cast off, essentially, Cody basically put a tweet out or said something along the lines of, "There's only 2 or 3, guys that he would be interested in taking a look at." I think what some people need to realize is where they are vice presidents, they aren't Tony Khan. So where I think they have input, they don't have I don't believe they have final say on stuff like that. So there might have been only 2 people that Cody wanted to look at, but Tony, on the other hand, saw some people that he thought he could make more money off of, or could be good for his company, whatever, and he brought Miro in. So.
Yeah, and maybe at first he was correct. Maybe Cody was correct that there was only a few stars, but then they started thinking about it. They like storylines. Okay, maybe we could use this individual in this spot. With that said, where's Jake the Snake on this graphic?
I noticed that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So Brandy could technically be on this too. I mean, there's only so much talent to go around. I try not to hold that against AEW like Bro Posting does, but maybe Bro Posting was just trying to stimulate conversation for our show.
Well, that's good. I appreciate them doing more work for the show than I did.
Brian asked a good question, so I'll let you be the first to answer. Who will be the first cast off to leave AEW?
Oh man,
by choice for a good contract somewhere else, not like they get fired or let go.
Okay, first one for a good opportunity somewhere else.
I want to say the first person to leave will be Sean Spears. I don't know if it'll be a good opportunity, but I just want to say that he's just going to be,
I like Sean Spears. Thank you.
He's just going to be frustrated. Tan Charlie Haas once again can't get over anywhere.
That's true.
He'll take that lucrative NXT contract.
That teaching job that he turned down.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I'm trying to look at a list. I wrote down people that weren't in WWE just in case this conversation went differently.
Okay.
I wanted to be able to name drop people.
Oh, look at you.
Part of me thinks Brian Cage has already been in Impact, so the only other place he could go really is WWE.
That's good.
Yeah, but I think probably off this list is probably someone like a Brian Cage.
That's a good one. Brian Cage is a really good pick there. I was hoping you would take more time and stall so I could take my time.
Okay, I'll keep going.
Well, Nathan says Billy Gunn go back to WWE for another DX reunion. Well, yeah, that's
yeah. It's probably in his contract that he can do that.
Yeah, right. Well, I'd like to think of wrestlers, those who could do it. I don't know if it'll be a good, huge contract. Like we're thinking like these knockout stars, but I could see a secondary member of the Dark Order or somebody like that moving over.
I know we talked about him earlier, but I could see someone like a Kip Sabian. He looks like a guy that WWE would be into.
I'm thinking the former LAX.
Yeah.
I could see those guys because, like you said, they've been an Impact and whatnot. Yeah. And if AEW starts again, they can't push everybody, and they're gonna, as they build this roster, start running into that problem more and more. I could see those guys moving over. Really,
yeah. Santana and Ortiz.
Yeah, makes sense. They could have some fun feuds with Street Profits, this week's guest on Table Talk, or Cesaro and Shinsuke, the Usos. I mean, Angel Garza and Andrade.
Oh, yeah.
But moving on, some changes made today in the wrestling. WWE. Thank you for whistling that.
Yeah.
That was good. The WWE'nds of Change.
Yeah.
Got to really crush the larynx when you do that. So WWE supposedly started letting go some people in the office and more behind the scenes sort of roles today. Supposedly people that had been furloughed and hadn't been brought back, and with the live scene non-existent right now, really, some of these people just let go. Two notable names: Gerald Briscoe,
yeah,
who's been in the company, 26 years or something like that?
Yeah.
And then Mike Rotundo, who IRS.
IRS, yeah.
So 2 long-term, old-school individuals that it sucks losing your job, layoff, firing, furlough, it doesn't matter. It sucks.
Yeah.
So as much as we have our relocation list that we do at the beginning of every year, we don't actually want to see people lose their livelihood.
No.
But I do see a silver lining here. And I don't know these guys individually, so these guys may be brilliant minds. But everybody complains. Everybody on the internet complains that the WWE is so behind the times, and we need to move forward. That this could be a step towards that. And I hate to say it because they're legends.
No, and I agree completely with that aspect of, you know what, these agents have been around a long time. Briscoe was been a talent agent for, a scout, I should say, for a decade or more. Like, I always remember hearing about Briscoe being the one who discovered so-and-so at a weightlifting tournament or an Olympic event or whatever. But I do think that, getting rid of, you don't want to say the old guard, but that's kind of what it is these guys who have that, yes, they have a ton of knowledge, but they also have maybe old school ideas or thoughts that just feel old. And this is maybe why reasons that someone like Sanjay Dutt is still around. Like producers like, oh my God, Adam Pearce, who's been
Devon
on TV.
Dudley.
I wasn't going to specifically drop Devon.
You can. He's a part of the team. You could give him a little bit of love. Jesus.
That's good. That guys like Devon are still around.
Oh, cheap pop. Come on.
But no, Adam Pearce has been on TV quite a bit. Abyss, Chris Parks is still with the company. Like, maybe this is why some of the younger agents and stuff were not furloughed and some of the older guys were. I don't know. If there's a silver lining, maybe that is it.
I think it's easy to become complacent at any job that you've been doing for so long, no matter how much passion you have for it.
Yeah.
I think with Briscoe being in the company for so many decades, there's probably a lot of same recycled ideas. Again, I don't know, speculation. He may be a brilliant mind that we are underappreciating, but for the sake of discussion here, he may be recycling a lot of the same ideas, because if you're in the same atmosphere, the same environment for so long, it is hard to find that new perspective. And
it could be just that type of thing where you're relying too much on what worked for you previously instead of maybe what hits now, and you're going, oh man, this really worked for us, in 97. This type of storyline did really well, and some of these other guys are going, dude, no, you can't do that now, or that's not gonna land now.
Yeah,
it's not gonna hit how you want to.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. So maybe that all plays a factor in this. Again, we don't like seeing anybody lose their job.
No. I think the most important question you have to ask now, though, is which wrestler in AEW is Mike Rotundo going to manage?
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I was even thinking that as soon as that happened. Well, probably Bo Dallas when he gets let go. Talk about a waste of talent right there.
I want to see IRS be like the financial planner for Private Party or something.
Oh, that's not in the budget. You can't throw that party tonight.
No, we have the Patron budget is down.
Actually, I think that would be good with MJF.
Oh, yeah.
MJF 2020, he becomes a campaign manager. I mean, I don't know. Does IRS or Gerald Briscoe have non-competes?
I don't know.
They're not talent.
No, I don't know.
So, I mean, you still might have some sort of window where you can't work for a similar industry, but if he's ready to go right away, you bring in him as MJF's campaign, especially if him and Wardlow do seemingly continue to butt heads, then. Yeah.
And this week on Dynamite, MJF mentioned that he pays Wardlow's salary, not Tony Khan.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a total thing for IRS to come in and go, look, we have to make some cuts in your salary budget.
And it's good use for the character. So
yeah, exactly.
Another cast off.
Right. Exactly.
All right. So there's something that has been today. There was 2 game show announcements that involved pro wrestlers, where we already have The Miz on that little water show on USA Network, whatever the hell it's called.
Cannonball.
Thank you. You think I would know that because it's so simple, but
yeah.
When I see that commercial's about to start, I'm like, okay.
I don't even watch him on SmackDown.
So in this case, you can't see me. Wipeout. John Cena going to be hosting the revival of Wipeout.
Oh, I did not see this. Okay.
So he had teased yesterday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
He had teased earlier in the week that he was training for something, and apparently he's going to be co-hosting with Nicole Byer. And then there's going to be a sideline thing. So they're supposed to be adding funny commentary to people making asses out of themselves.
Yes. I was a fan of the old Wipeout. So
Cena's going to be doing that. I don't know what training he needs to do for that, but
I'm sure it was a joke, but yes.
Or it's more hosting. Maybe he's going through a training of a different sort.
Yeah, for sure.
We got The Miz. We got Cena hosting. And then another one that's kind of slid under the radar for a lot of fans would be the Go Big Show.
Yeah, that was announced last night on Dynamite.
The Go Big Show, where Cody, the American Nightmare, will be one of the judges / stars, along with Snoop Dogg and Bert Kirchner, I think, is the comedian that likes to take off his shirt.
I think so. Yeah, he's hosting.
He's the host. And then you have all these other individuals.
Rosario Dawson.
What's that?
Rosario Dawson.
Rosario Dawson. Yeah. So a lot of WWE, or just pro wrestlers rather, transitioning over to game show hosting.
Well, like I saw this, and my first immediate reaction to the Go Big Show was, what the? And then I went, you know what?
Go Big Show. Go Big Show.
Like, I was like, first off, how is it not the Big Show?
Yeah.
And second, like, I get why, because it's on the same network as AEW. But this is great for Cody and for AEW. Like, the cross promotion, to me, it just shows a continued commitment from TNT, how much ingrained they are in the brand, that they want to show AEW in a different light. They want to, get them exposed as much as possible.
Yep.
You look at the list of judges and you're like, all right, Cody's in with some hitters like Rosario Dawson, Snoop Dogg. Those are big names. And I just think it's a great chance, a great opportunity for Cody for sure.
Yeah. Even if the show itself doesn't do well, that just right there boosts a little bit of credibility outside of the pro wrestling bubble, which we know the guy's a great guy, good mind for the business, but still stereotypes and stigma you got to break there. But I also wondered, like, maybe people in general, maybe pop culture and society in general are starting to realize and embrace that there is a lot of skill with pro wrestling that, it's fake or it's fixed or however you want to argue it. I went through that again this week with somebody.
Really?
I know it's 2020. I still have to go through with that crap. But all the public speaking they do, all of the drama that they create or react to in the ring, it goes to show that they're comfortable out in front of these crowds where it's kind of hard to find good people that know how to do that so naturally.
No, absolutely. It is. And getting in front of an audience like that on a stage like that, there aren't a lot of people that can do that.
Yeah.
The improv it takes, the timing, there's a lot that goes into that they don't get enough credit for.
Yeah. So it's kind of a nice trend. It sucks when they have to leave for a little bit and can't do their thing, but that should just be more opportunity for others to be able to step up.
And I really do think, like, anything that The Rock has done and like Batista recently, like, every good step they have just sheds another light on the industry and how many talented people there are there.
Yeah, and that's like The Rock would be easy to pinpoint as the guy that is able to transcend wrestling because he's so charismatic and just so personable and engaging, and that's hard to find anywhere, not just in pro wrestling. Yeah. Batista is a little bit more of a natural swag to him. He's not an over the top personality like a Dwayne Johnson is, but that gives so much hope to stars that maybe we're not quite sure.
Yeah,
really do that. Are they good? Are they good actors? But
yeah,
like if you have a chance, and it sounds like a shameless plug, but I didn't want to call him out during the Table Talk episode. Montez Ford is so reactive to everything. And he's so descriptive, which may or may not be good if you're a director trying to get that right take and he's over emoting to everything.
Yeah.
The emotion he shows on his face, I'm like, this dude could cross over into other forms of media entertainment.
No issue. Absolutely.
For sure. And he's not the only one, but it's good to see that. But speaking of games, time to play the game. Night. And this is where I need your feedback. Yours right there. Not yours, Ballz.
Oh.
Yeah. Cover your face. Yeah, I need yours. All right, you're good. So I want to do a game night. So with that screen sharing, like with the AEW graphic we pulled up there, we could start doing some Jackbox games. And it may not be a wrestling audio thing. It just might be a Mo Lightning thing. It might be a QLZ, my radio station thing. I don't know. I guess it depends on what kind of audience we have. But the way I have to do it, like the way I envision it going, and it could be changed in the future, is that through that shared screen, then we would play the Jackbox games. So like the murder mystery games or like the games where you have creative answers.
Yeah.
So if we wanted to do it, we could probably have pro wrestling themed ones on this show.
For sure.
And I know there's a limited amount of people that can play, but I think at first we're not going to hit that limit because there's going to be so much coming and going, and it's the wrong time of day. It's the wrong day of the week. But anyway, through the screen, you would have to watch on a laptop or a desktop or a tablet to see the screen that we're on as well. So Ballz and I would be doing running commentary, cracking jokes, reacting to your answers, but you'd still have to use your phone to interact. So if you've ever played a Jackbox game, that's how it is, that we have a room and that there's the room code. So the first people that type in that room code would be able to join us for this game.
Yeah.
You and I would host, or I would host, or whatever. But then you kind of need a 2-screen setup because I don't know if you can really do both on the phone with the setup that I have envisioned.
Yeah.
And this is where you coming in, you watching this now live or on demand. Is that something that's possible for you? Is that something you'd be interested in? Or is that way too much screen work to have to interact with? And that's a legit question. Yeah. So if you're watching this now, no matter where, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, if you're on Twitter and you want to respond, it doesn't matter. Just reach out at Wrestling Audio, at Mo Lightning, hell, Ballz V2 or whatever the hell his handle is.
What it is.
And just let us know if that's something that, one, you're interested in, and two, if that's not too much that you have to look at a screen and another screen from home. But I mean, I'm just trying to find different ways to keep people entertained here during this, dare I say, shit show of a year. So that's just one of the things that I want to do is be able to bring people together, kind of take us out of our heads for a little bit. And if we could share some laughs at the same time, Nathan, never heard of Jackbox, but interested in some sort of interactive games.
Yeah.
If you remember back when we were kids, when we were younger, you don't know Jack. Do you remember those, like the bald head guy, like part of the logo? That's what they morphed into. That's what they grew into, is these Jackbox games. So,
I know I've played a couple through work and stuff.
They're fun.
They're fun. We've done trivia a couple times, and it's been good.
Yeah. Nathan says he's currently looking at 3 screens, by the way. You guys NFL and text on my phone. So, all right. So he's watching Jackasses. He's watching NFL Jackasses, and he's sexting.
He's sexting.
Well done, sir. Just
adorable.
Don't confuse the messages, please.
No, please, because Mo will post them.
Yeah.
So, be careful what you send.
So, let us know what you're thinking about that. I think it's worth a shot. There's a very unique sense of humor behind the Jackbox games, and I'm sure you can attest to that, Ballz, that it's a sarcastic, dry humor. It's like, even if it's family friendly, we can have fun with it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I was trying to tell people that I have this idea, and among those people were my parents. And my mom's like, you'll have to make sure it's family friendly. I'm like, what do you mean?
family friendly.
Like you can't have people cursing. I'm like, it's the internet, so I can.
I can, yeah.
She's like, well, what if people get really out of line? I'm like, well, I'm not playing Cards Against Humanity. I've thought about it.
But we could.
There are certain things I don't want to be caught recorded saying on the internet. So
True.
Even if it is a card game. So.
The last episode of this show, we talked to Greg from a sex dungeon.
Yeah, but that wasn't racist or anything.
No.
If you play Cards Against Humanity, no, I don't want to be recorded that. Maybe if we do that, you can read all the answers. Ballz will let you do that.
I feel like I was just,
You're like, it's no big deal. I got this.
I got this. No habla inglés. I cannot read.
All right. So this person answered a big, fat, black cow. What?
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So let us know what you think of that. No rush. Loves on it. That's what I do to America's ass.
Loves on it.
That's what I do. Need it.
First time I read that, it was like, I thought it said Americans Badass, and I was like, The Undertaker?
I love The Undertaker too. Undertaker needs love.
He does. Undertakers need love too.
All right. So last thing I got, and back to pro wrestling, reality bites. In this case,
the 90s movie?
Underrated movie, by the way. It did not age well, though. I'll say that.
No, most of them don't.
Very 90s movie. No, if you want to create realism in pro wrestling.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Now, but this, you know where this is going, but in this modern era where you're trying to present to us a truth behind storylines, right?
Ooh.
When you have Retribution showing up and WWE has created a graphic for them, or on the last pay-per-view, had a package for them, it's hard to take them seriously. And it's a nitpick. It's not a huge deal. But in this era where you're trying to do something, you want this to feel real, don't give them a graphic until after we know who they are. And they demand one.
Yes. I say there's two ways around it. You do you show a clip of them going into the production studio where they're like, play this. And then it's their graphic that they're showing on the screens. Or you go the NWO route where the commercial is bought and paid for by Retribution.
And that's the thing. It's like, I actually feel the NWO angle was more real than this. And yes, there was less internet. I get that. Less sexting going on by people named Nathan. Yes. But
that's very specific, but yes.
Exactly. Well, it's the truth. But just, it's weird that in 96, 97, we can get a better invasion angle than we can in 2020, where with everything and technology and whatnot and hacking and how do we not embrace that? That's, it's I start strictly on one of your shows instead of all of them. It's like they'll show up on Raw and SmackDown.
And now they're not on SmackDown.
Right.
Yeah.
NXT got bothered by them, once early on, maybe?
Once early on, I think.
They haven't showed up on a pay-per-view.
No.
And I don't even want to go into possibly who's in it. I mean, you could probably look on that fad called the internet and you can see who it is at this point. But it's just weird. Like the NWO at least would spray paint and there was like a realism to it. This is like, these guys are wily rascals.
Yeah, they just get security all the time. Like the Nexus felt more dangerous than Retribution does.
Yeah. So Brian says that they've actually never gone after NXT. I thought maybe they did early on, but that goes to show how little I'm paying attention now.
Yeah. I am wondering, I remember them going after, but it might have been NXT people that were in the crowd for Raw.
Maybe.
I think is what I'm thinking of. I was like, because I remember them going after one or two girls from NXT, but I think they were plants in the crowd for Raw.
And it's easy for us to be armchair quarterbacks, armchair bookers. But I don't know. It's 2020, and especially with so much cinematic stuff being recorded this year in pro wrestling. Yeah. How do you not embrace that more? And they look like the same ninjas who have already invaded Raw. Like Retribution needs something. Like they need something like spray paint on them, or construction vests. I don't know, something to.
Yes, Dayglow orange construction vests. That's what it is.
Sexter here says that it's Rowan's birdcage. Dumb and whatever. It's going to be a mega letdown. I mean, if it is the people that it's rumored to be, Dijakovic and Mercedes Martinez, Mojo Rawley, and others.
Yeah.
Other than Mojo, what the hell do you have to be upset about?
Right? Like Mia Yim and
I mean, Dijakovic and Mia Yim had some great runs in NXT. Mercedes has been in the business 19 years, finally getting her WWE break. Maybe there's something there.
Yeah, maybe that's what you go with for her. But like those like Vanessa Bourne or Chelsea Green, you're like, you don't make sense for this.
No, and I don't think they know where they wanted to go with it originally. Maybe they still don't, but
I don't think they do. I think that's the main
problem. Giving them a graphic and, access to the production truck and letting them have their own packages celebrate. It just seems weird.
Yeah.
Just seems weird. Throws a bone here and have Bo Dallas be the leader. That'd be something. That'd be something. Jared wants to know if I love America's ass more than Billy Gunn. Well, yeah. Obviously.
I want Bo Dallas to be the leader and then have it. Yeah, right? I'm not family friendly at all.
No.
Bo Dallas is the leader, and then they're like, you fired my dad, which happened like a month and a half after Retribution came.
Well, we'd heard rumors back then.
He took over leadership.
He wants me to answer the sext. No, I don't sext and show at the same time. Immediately afterwards, so that's a different story.
Yeah, immediately afterwards. I think this is going to be the aces and eights. This is Devon did this, didn't he? I'm telling you.
I wish. Aces and Eights was actually okay at first. Arguably, this was never okay. Retribution.
You're so not wrong. Like, really not.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens there, but that's a little. I don't know. It's bothersome here in 2020 that something with so much potential once again lost or wasted.
They finally started speaking with voice modulation or whatever. I just did this because it just immediately reminds me of the Kane thing.
You're looking good,
Tori. Do you think that's the right direction, or should they have not started talking until one of them is unmasked?
I would have chose like one representative to voice over threats, pre-recorded threats, nothing in the ring or anything. Like have them hijack a broadcast, the feed. And so it's a scrambled picture, whatever trendy thing they want to do, and somebody using the voice modulation. And I think actually probably would have been great had it been a female.
Yeah.
Is taking over the show. And it's like, this is what happens when you don't respect us. Like, give us the little nuggets of what is going on without them chainsawing the ropes, knowing that there'll be more ropes next week.
Yes. And how did they not break everything before moving to the Thunderdome? Like, what a wasted opportunity that was.
Maybe they're going to be hiding behind all the screens. And then the next show, gotcha.
They just pop up. Half the venue is Retribution, the other half is Akira Tozawa Ninjas. Where'd Mo go?
Gotcha.
I feel like I've just been retributed.
That's what's going to happen behind the TV sets. And the thing is, though, I need to wear a hoodie and cover my mask. I'll be like, gotcha. Jazz hands. Yeah, there you go.
And then they just like slowly walk towards anyone.
Frankly, you look more badass than they do right now. I think it's because at least you don't look like a ninja. With your bathrobe hoodie there. I mean, at least you stand out. So
true.
Yeah, I don't know. What WWE needs to do, because they are the leader in future endeavored entertainment. They need to announce firings and not actually fire these people. And you wait. You let them play it off. You let them change their handles on all their social media. Yes. And you let them know, hey, you're not going anywhere. We promise. We're paying you during this downtime. Yeah. 3 months. Make it seem like you're going somewhere. Tease Impact. Tease AEW. So this way, when we bring you back, we don't announce it. We have fun. You come back, you're pissed off. You have this whole new character.
Oh, man.
Why is that not happening? I mean, I get it. Right? Cutting costs, that's probably... But maybe you have a star that is a little beat up that could use a little bit of downtime or is afraid of the Rona, you know, or whatever. They come back and they got a brand new, fresh storyline waiting to go.
No, absolutely. That would have swerved so hard. Mm-hmm. Like, you find out after that they were never let go.
I mean... Maybe there's a code in the business that you don't like. Let's say in the last WWE cuts with the Drake Maverick and Rusev and all those guys, there's a name or two in there that were fired but weren't fired. Is that disrespectful to those who did lose their jobs? I don't know, but it's entertainment. So
I don't know.
I mean, they continued on with the pay-per-view after a guy died.
It's true.
So I don't think fake firing is any worse, but that's just me.
I don't know. We'll see. But I could see that, like, we've talked about something similar to that before, when it might have been when CM Punk left or when Kevin Owens was suspended or something. A similar idea of having him, and it was when him and Sami Zayn were suspended. Mm-hmm. You have them show up in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. You have them show up in Ring of Honor. And just, you know, show up and have a match or cause crap and cause a scene and leave. It gets more buzz than you ever would have gotten for them just being on your show that night.
And that's an old school idea right there. Because I remember going back to ECW where the Sandman was supposedly blinded in his feud, that he stayed at home, didn't even leave his house to go to the mailbox for months. He had somebody do it for him and just to sell it. So this way, when you finally saw the Sandman, oh, it's going down.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah. So Brian wants to know, do you think Maverick was actually released or was it a story? I think he was released.
I think he was released. I do.
But I think people they realized, oh, people are actually like this guy, including a lot of people behind the scenes.
And I feel like you probably paid him less to stay in NXT. I feel like you were still able to cut your costs. Mm-hmm. It's not a full-time, it's not, you know, it's not a main event level deal. It's an NXT deal. So,
and it seemed like it really was budgets for the last WWE round, because we had Sarah Rowe on Table Talk a while back, and she's not with the company anymore. But if Devon is to be believed, she was really, really well liked backstage, and people were legit upset that she was let go. But they understand because you got to make money, and in this case, it worked out for her. But you know, with her being pregnant
and whatever.
Yeah. So I do think it was storyline, but I think it's only a matter of time before WWE gets us, and then that's going to screw with our relocation list. That's going to cost you the yearly victory. It's going to be great.
Right? I can't wait. Man, when WWE screws me over, I'm going to be so pissed.
Oh, I'm going to be so happy. WWE, please make it happen.